Fossil Pokemon, dinosaurs or not, are super cool. Dinosaurs are so cool, and so are prehistoric bugs and sea life. I guess. I love just about every fossil Pokemon that the series introduces, which they do in most new games, but not all. So yes, I am daring to ask the question, what if they did? Today, let's look at Alola and see what some fossil Pokemon could have looked like if they decided they needed some. Hey, it's December! That means it's time for holiday B-roll while we count down the days until Christmas. Oh look, this B-roll has today's sponsor in it. Quick, I gotta think of a jingle. These Raycon everyday earbuds feel great. I put them in my head and they sound so great. I can't rhyme, but I'm sure you relate. When you buy Raycons, you feel great.
This guy stinks!
Oh yes, and they've got more than that. Look at their site. Deals, earbuds, headphones, speakers, bundles, accessories, brand! Support cart! There's a whole cart! Which you can fill with gifts for everyone, as the earbuds come in many colors, have outstanding battery life with their charging case, and are just half the cost of other premium audio brands. And that's before the deals. Oh no, my wallet! It's fine! So yes, click the link below to go to buyraycon.com/Lockstin to get 15% off site-wide with the code HOLIDAY. And also, there will be a new pop-up deal every day during Raycon's countdown to Christmas. I'll try to keep the description box updated with the latest offers, but just so you know, you can always go to buyraycon.com/Lockstin to get the best deals available on Raycon. And a huge thanks again to them for supporting us all year. You can help keep this tradition alive by clicking that link in the description and buying some. Not that I blame Pokemon Sun and Moon for not introducing a new fossil Pokemon, because the Hawaiian islands that make up Alola are only 5 to 6 million years old, which sounds like a lot, but consider that most iconic fossils are, significantly older than that. Heck, both Kabuto and the fossils it's based on are 300 million years old. 5 million years is not long enough for many fossils to form, which is why Hawaii basically doesn't have any. But they are surrounded by ocean, aren't they? So obviously, if they were to introduce new fossil Pokemon, they'd be aquatic. They lived in the area long before these islands even existed, and the process of the islands forming brought the underwater fossils to the surface. This is actually why many mountaintops have ancient fossils of sea life near their peaks. So let's make some aquatic critters, yeah? We'll do one dinosaur and one not a dinosaur. And let's spice things up by making them not completely Hawaiian. After all, Alola has Toucanon and Komala and others. Alola is really the Oceania or Pacific Island region. It just takes the shape of Hawaii for the landmass itself. And I'd really love to lean into that Oceania aspect more. So let's introduce the first one, the dinosaur. It's a baby Mosasaur.
It's not a dinosaur!
Well, it's dinosaur enough for me, and for people who aren't dino nerds.
Okay.
This is Mossawsaur. It's cute. A little rock grass Pokemon with the water absorb ability, so it heals whenever it's hit with water attacks. This is thanks to the thin layer of algae it cultivates around its entire body, almost like sea moss or Marimo balls. These little dudes swim around like they own the place, always acting tough and doing whatever they want. They easily bully the mini water-type Pokemon in the sea because they can't really do much against it. And you can really tell Mosasaur is tough by the way it styles its semi-transparent giant kelp mohawk that goes all the way down the ridge of its back. You see, Mosasaurs were originally reconstructed as having a sail or a crest down their back, but modern-day paleontology shows that this was a big misunderstanding and they don't actually have these, or even protrusions on their spine, which is why here, the baby one does have it, but the adult will not. It's like paleontology itself is evolving. We're evolving out of our previous notions. Anyways, Mosasaur's mohawk wraps around the tail to create the shape of a Hawaiian shark-toothed club, one of their most unique weapons. Literally a paddle-shaped club, which also helps Mosasaur swim, with sharp shark teeth attached to the edges. Mosasaur is able to stiffen the edges of its kelp on its back and tail in order to use them as sharp blades, perfect for attacks like Leaf Blade. And it's able to swim back and forth to saw through rocks or hard bones of its prey to get to their tasty, marrowy insides. hence the saw in its name too. And now, let's evolve it into another kind of Mosasaur, the Moamatau. This is Moamatau. Its name is entirely Maori, as it's very New Zealand or Aotearoa inspired. Moana means ocean, Matau means hook, and its tail functions as a large fishhook, such as the one used by Maui, the heroic trickster god, to pull Hawaii up from the depths of the ocean. And best of all, when combining these words this way, it makes another Maori word. Moamatau means early. Very fitting for a prehistoric Pokemon. Moamatau's body and tail shape resembles a Maori war canoe, and its flippers the paddles. And the patterning along its body, along with the dark patch on its chin, resembles the very cultural and iconic sacred chin tattoo of the Maori, Tamoko. The Maori believe that the head is the most sacred part of the body. Thus, these tattoos have extreme significance. They show a person's ancestry, life path, honesty, and devotion. And in earlier days, they were used to signify social rank and skill, which Moamatau is doing here. Back in its day, it ruled the ocean. The top predator, peak of the food chain. While a few species of Mosasaur, like the Dilophosaurus ternary, could be under a meter long, perhaps like Mossawsaur, the majority of Mosasaurs were huge, with the biggest species, this one I'm not going to pronounce, possibly able to reach 17 meters. For comparison, Deep Blue, the biggest great white shark ever recorded, is only 6.1 meters. Yeah, this Mosasaur was the aquatic apex predator at the time. Their body plan meant they most likely ambushed prey by basically waiting until prey happened to swim by, and then they would swim pounce on it and rip it to shreds with their slightly curved, slightly triangular but conical teeth, which easily shred and saw at flesh and bone. Also, funnily enough, these not actually dinosaurs didn't evolve to become sharks. Rather, their closest living relatives are snakes and monitor lizards. Go figure. Back to the Mon though, its long kelp-like tail is super stretchy, able to extend 60 feet, or about as long as the longest real Mosasaur. And it uses this to great effect. It hooks its tail onto a rock or a reef, and then waits to ambush its prey. On the beach, it lunges its body out of the water to grab prey from the land, a similar tactic to orca whales, but thanks to its hook tail, it has an easy time pulling itself back into the water. It's almost like reverse fishing. The thing in the water is grabbing the things on the land, and it's also like another definition of reverse fishing. The hook stays back while the rod goes out and catches things. Lamau. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, bungee jumping was invented by a New Zealander who was trying to emulate an old local rite of passage, but with modern safety standards. So yeah, bungee jumping tail. So, okay, that's the dinosaur-like Mon, and I love it. But now, let's go even further back in time. Life began in the ocean, and Alola is the most oceanic of regions, so it's perfectly fitting to give it a fossil Mon based on the first animal, right? Or at the very least, the earliest known animal. And here it is. This is the Dickinsonia.
Dickinsonia? I don't even know Sonia.
Alright, and now that that is out of our system, yes, this creature is called the Dickinsonia. I prefer the name sea pancake myself. Dickinsonias were a basal animal that lived during the late Ediacaran period in what is now Australia and East Asia, but also as far out as Ukraine. It was basically a bilaterally symmetrical ribbed pancake. And the Dickinsonia is so old that they are known only from casts or imprints in sandstone beds. And we only think it's an animal because of the small amounts of cholesterol found in those casts, as only animals have cholesterol. But also each section of them, divided by these lines, was probably a chamber filled with a liquid that had a slightly higher pressure than the ocean around them. So they were essentially a quilted air mattress that just ate and pooped and not much else. So, what's our Pokemon look like? Well, this! It's Lancake, a land pancake, a Dickinsonia that takes the sea pancake aspect to heart. It carries around a smooth stone it happens to like on its back, and it puts it below its body when sleeping to help elevate its face, treating it like a pillow. But then when it's carrying it on its back, it resembles a pad of butter on a pancake. Honestly, it's perfect for Alola, since one of their most iconic Pokemon, Alolan Raichu, has so much to do with pancakes. It's why it exists, apparently, and likewise, Lancake is able to learn many psychic-type moves, but ultimately it is rock, ground-type. But it has the Storm Drain ability, which makes all water-type attacks target it, but it is also immune to them, like how a pancake absorbs syrup, and is also almost like a sea sponge, another very ancient animal. But plants, yeah, plants love this guy's body, hence its 4 times weakness to grass-type attacks. It's very nutritious, and whenever they die, numerous plants will sprout up from their bodies super rapidly. And this, along with its psychic ability and affinity for sleeping, is a reference to another major inspiration for it, the Wania. These ancient cave paintings found in Australia that depict the Wania or Gulingi are depicting spirits that bring clouds, rain, or even monsoons to help fertilize and revitalize the ground. Most of the paintings of them are just their heads, and they have many small lines going around their eyes, or even as their outlines, making them sort of resemble the Dickinsonia too. And it should also be noted that totemic cave art like this, in the specific context of Aboriginal Australia, is known by some as Dreamtime legends or the dreaming. There was lots of debate about that translation that we won't get into here. Just know that some of these Dreamtime or Everywhen stories say that the Wania created the landscape and all of its inhabitants. Yes, they created the ground and every animal. Thus, this Pokémon is part ground type and is the Dickinsonia, the ancestor of every animal. So now let's evolve it and make it even more like the Wania. This is Landream, an extra long Dickinsonia. While most Dickinsonia were super round, some were more slug-like, and some had large sections right above the head. Oh my gosh, okay. Which on Landream becomes a slot for a third eye. This third eye is free-moving and can even look forward when it's laying down and crawling, so it no longer has to peek up out of its blanket-like back like it used to. And of course, third eyes are associated with the psychic powers it's capable of having too. In fact, the Wania are mouthless, and it is said by some that they communicate with their minds and motions. And similarly, that's another quirk of the Dickinsonia. They have no mouths, or at least no evidence of them ever having any. Rather, they just absorbed their nutrients, like a pancake absorbing syrup, or like a large blanket absorbing syrup. You see, the name, while combining land and dream, also sounds like laundry, a reference to its blanket of earth that it likes to keep clean by causing rain. And thus, Landream has a rather unique signature move, especially given its type. Psy-Permeate is a dual-type ground psychic move, the same way Flying Press is a dual flying and fighting type move. This move permeates the soil around it with its psychic energy to fertilize it, which then erupts up, dealing damage to all of its opponents. And this rising energy from the earth disturbs the atmosphere and summons rain. The rainwater then permeates the land beneath. Very fitting of its very important origins. And that's them. 2 Australian and 2 New Zealandian fossil Pokemon for the Alola region. What do you think? Do you think Virgiloffice, the artist I commissioned this art from, did a good job? And what would you add or change about them? Let me know down below, and never stop using your noggin.